And there it is. On time, as predicted. The coronavirus is back, baby, and it's scary. How long did we sit around while they told us the end was nigh and we all must bend over because we must save everybody, give up your business, bend the knee, bend over backwards, just give it up, give up everything. Your businesses were collapsed, you ran out of money, you lost your jobs. And then they said the protesters who came out to defy this were monsters, killing grandma. And what do we get? And what happened after that? Riots broke out, destroying what remained of many of these small businesses. And they said, but these are noble protesters who are trying to fight for a real cause. And everyone knows racism is worse than a global pandemic. That's right. Several hundred people killed by police in the past year who were unarmed or otherwise, and or who I believe were unarmed. And then 100,000 deaths in a couple months. But we know what the real problem is. You know what, man? I'm frustrated. I'm getting tired of reading this stuff. These journalists and politicians are actually coming out now and criticizing Trump over COVID. They're claiming it's spiking, it's coming back. We got to bunker down. Anthony Fauci says it is only just begun. Are you kidding me? You know what? As far as I'm concerned, no, it's over. All right, we're reopening. You can't play this game with us. The American people are fed up. Maybe they're not. Maybe they don't care. Maybe they really, really don't care. I don't know what to believe anymore. Do the American people really care that they were forced to lock down and their jobs were destroyed and their companies were destroyed and their lives were destroyed? And then they got to watch all these protesters go out in the street and dance around and do the electric slide or whatever it is in the street. I think if they cared, they'd actually come out and protest. I don't see them doing it. Maybe they're laying in wait to go vote for Trump. Sure, fine, whatever. But I don't think they care. I really don't, man. I'm not going to say I'm hopeful. We also have this story. USA Today. Coronavirus news and updates. 2 million cases confirmed in the U.S. COVID-19 spreading in several states. The pandemic and your retirement. Police tactics are making the threat of COVID-19 spread among protesters worse. Are you kidding me? This is the second story I've seen. It's probably not even, there's probably more than two, where they argue the police are at fault for the protesters not social distancing. How long are we going to sit through these lies and the double standards? How has it not become so obvious what they're doing at this point? The cognitive dissonance is so insane for people to actually believe the two narratives at the exact same time. Protests are good. Everything's fine. Coronavirus is back and it's the Republicans' fault. You've got to be dumb or dumber than a box of rocks to actually believe this narrative at this point. No, and I don't mean that COVID isn't serious. I think it is. I don't think it's nearly as bad as they claimed it was. But I think they're lying to us every step of the way. And that's why they allowed the protest to carry on, because they don't care about what's true. It's all about lies to push their narrative and their agenda. Here's good old CNN's Caitlin Collins. Alabama just reported 849 new coronavirus cases today. This is the largest number of cases reported in one day since the state began tracking them. The state's total case count is over 22,000 with 750 deaths. Look what this person says. We're all opening up too early. It's going to get worse. Wear your mask and be safe. Where were any of these people when thousands of people stood shoulder to shoulder on Wilshire Boulevard or whatever in California? When thousands of people gathered in mass protest and did not social distance? Nobody cared. It's like, it really is like they're just smacking everybody in the face and laughing about it. We can lie, we can cheat, we can steal, we can say whatever we want. And the people are stupid enough to just believe it every step of the way. Must be the hoax in Dems at it again, John says, sarcastically, as if the Democrats didn't just encourage mass protests throughout the country. This person says, and right on cue, the coronavirus takes the place of the protests, which have devolved into rioting. Looks like testing is working. Here's the story. This morning, I talked about it, the rioting. According to the White House Coronavirus Task Force, the riots destroyed 70 testing facilities. Is that what they wanted? When the Democrats encouraged all of this, maybe it's what Trump really wanted. No, I mean it. Think about it. They wanted to blame Trump for everything. How convenient then that when these rioters came out and destroyed the COVID testing facilities, how convenient then that everything got worse and now Trump can blame it on the riots and the protesters. Trump's going to turn around and say, all the Democrats encouraged the protests. Don't look at me. It's not my fault. I didn't tell people to go do this. They did. What do they have to say? COVID-19 cases have nearly doubled in 2 weeks. And do they even mention the protests? The state's hospitals are preparing for a surge of severely ill patients. Kara Christ, director of ADHS, told them June 6th to activate their emergency plans. Banner Health, the largest healthcare system in the state, says the number of patients on ventilators since May 15th has quadrupled. What could have possibly spread all of this, huh? Arizona is one of 12 states seeing a rise in hospitalizations from COVID-19 and one of 8 states that experts say are the new hot spots for the virus. The relatively fast rise in new cases in Arizona makes it one of the most concerning outbreaks because its healthcare system could soon be overwhelmed. It's not in... Oh, they're doing it. I'm sorry, man. It's not entirely clear what's driving the rise in new cases. But on May 15th, Arizona Governor Doug Ducey lifted the stay-at-home order enacted on March 31st. The state's reopening is guided by an executive order that allows businesses to gradually and safely open in compliance with federal guidance. They've done this before. In New York, they saw a spike and they said, Bill de Blasio said, we're not entirely sure why it's happening. Maybe it's because you encouraged mass protest. Now, Arizona has a bunch of blue areas, and I'd be willing to bet they protested. So, gee, what could have happened? Well, it is true that a month ago they lifted stay-at-home orders. The incubation period averages out to 4 days. Gee, what was happening 4 days ago? What was happening 5, 6, 7 days ago? It's just so obvious. It's amazing. Look at this massive spike. What's that? Within a couple days of the mass protests, we see a major spike. I wonder what caused this. Gyms, swimming pools, and other businesses have been allowed to open up. And although the state issued protocols for public health measures like physical distancing and hygiene, blah, 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 I can't believe it. They don't mention the protests. If you do a root cause analysis of what's going on and what's wrong, it's that word, recommendations. Part of the outbreak is occurring in the Navajo Nation, a reservation that reaches into several states with its largest share of territory in Arizona. For a time, it had the highest per capita COVID-19 infection rate. They say it also has a large elderly population. But why don't they mention any of the protests? I can't believe it. No, I'm sorry. I can believe it. We're right back to where we started. They're lying. I'm sorry. It's all lies. I don't know what to tell you. The double standard is so ridiculous that I don't believe there's any person who can reconcile this in their minds. Okay? Anybody who claims to is clearly lying to you. They tried. You know what they said? The activists said, it's not that we think that you won't get sick. It's that we recognize the importance of fighting racism and bigotry, and we're willing to risk our lives and embrace COVID because we're going to do the right thing. And it was quickly pointed out, you're not risking your own life. You're risking grandma's life. Isn't that what they said to all the lockdown protesters? It's not about you. It's about how you could transfer this to someone else. And then when they went out and protested, they said, oh, but we're the good guys, the noble heroes doing everything right. I'm sick of it, man. It's all just been one big lie over and over and over again. Jussie Smollett, Russiagate, Ukrainegate, Covington, and now the COVID lockdown stuff. They were wrong, to say the least. Impeachment was fake. The lockdown was fake. They then rioted and defended the rioters. Now they're taking over Seattle, and the New York Times is running defense for them. It's all breaking. It's all falling apart. And it's hard to know what's real anymore. I can't imagine what must be going through someone's mind, the average American. I can't imagine the polls are real. Let me just break this down for you. If this is fake news, if COVID was wrong, if they're defending the rioters, it's the lies are so obvious. Why should I believe any of these polls? I don't believe it. I really, really don't. I still think Trump is going to landslide, and it's because of this constant stream of fake news. They're trying to argue that it was reopening that caused this. It's downright insanity. What sane person could actually understand and even believe any of this news anymore? It's just so obviously a lie. Now, I don't know what's going to happen come November. They want you to believe Trump won't win. Why? It's a fact that when polls show a certain candidate will win, people favor that candidate. I think they were probably betting on that for Hillary Clinton, and it didn't work out. So once again, they're going by the same playbook. Donald Trump is a racist. He's a bigot. You know, no one wants to vote for him. Everyone hates him. His disapproval is skyrocketing. At this point, I just don't care. I think they're just lying every step of the way. I think almost all of the media is just pumping out trash lies at this point. It wasn't always this way. But they've been purging high-ranking editors, and they really do want to make this overt propaganda arm of the media. It's only a matter of time. Tucker Carlson lost some sponsors recently. He lost a bunch in the past. I can't imagine he'll last. I mean, Fox News probably has a contract with him. He's the most popular person they have, so we'll see. Maybe he'll just move to Fox Nation or something. I don't know. He's been promoting Fox Nation a whole lot, and it's only a matter of time before they come for my channels as well. I don't even know what's the point of tracking this story anymore. Why would I start talking about coronavirus when it's just nonsensical? There's no logical pattern to follow to understand why it's happening or what's happening, other than they're lying. I'll leave it there. I'll see y'all tomorrow at 10 a.m. Thanks for hanging out.